What's going on, guys? It is Monday, May 18th. Today we are going to get into part 2 of 11.4, which is going to be talking about dividing rational expressions. All right. You guys previously learned how to multiply rational expressions. So essentially you're going to see that this is almost kind of the same thing. All right. Because when we have expressions like this and we're dividing, what do we really do when we divide with fractions? We multiply by the reciprocal. Okay. So that is your learning target today, is that I can divide rational expressions by multiplying by the reciprocal, basically, of that second fraction. All right, so let's take a look at a couple examples of what that's going to look like. All right, so if I'm looking at these two expressions and I'm trying to divide them, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just show you what the book does quick. All right, they're showing us that dividing by w over w minus 4 is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal, w minus 4 over w. So we're flipping it, right? Okay, so now they're going to show us that we can actually multiply, all right? We can multiply numerators and denominators, but what I like to do is, again, from last week, is I like to cross cancel. Okay, so I see a w minus 4 in my numerator here and in my denominator here. So I could right away cancel these and then multiply as well, if you remember correctly. So that would just give me my answer right away. If I canceled these, I'd be left with 8 in my numerator and w in my denominator, and that would be my final answer. So my answer would be A here. Okay. So if we look at what the book does, again, they multiply first and then cancel or simplify. All right. To get 8 over w here, let's look at an extra one. I'll go through my thought process with you. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the problem as d plus 6 over d squared. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of this. Okay, so I'm flipping it. So I'm going to put the d squared on the top and the 2d plus 12 on the bottom. All right, now I'm going to think, remember, I want to think, can I factor anything? All right, so I'm going to start up here. D plus 6, do they have a common factor? No. D squared is one term, so no, they don't have a common factor. D squared is one term, so no. But right here, 2d and 12, what I could do is I could factor out a 2 from that. Okay, I could divide both of these by 2. They have a common factor of 2. So I'm going to factor this. All right, ready? I'm just going to kind of change it quick to a 2 on the outside, and I'm going to change that 12 to a 6, because 12 divided by 2 gives me 6, right? And now I'm going to simplify. All right, I'm going to cross cancel. I have d squared on the top and bottom. Those are gone. Okay, I have a d plus 6 on the top and bottom. Those are gone. So I'm really left with a 2 on the bottom. And what's really up here is just a 1. Okay, what's really up here is just a 1. My final answer is 1/2 here. All right, that would be my final answer here. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Let's look at one more complicated. All right, so when we're dividing with any fractions at all, see how this is just like one term or one expression? We need to make that into a fraction. So I'm just going to put p squared minus 4 over 1. All right, I'm going to show you what I do first, and then we'll talk about what the book does. So I'm going to rewrite everything. I could factor this right away. So what's p squared minus p minus 6 really factored? We're thinking what multiplies to negative 6 adds to negative 1. Be negative 3 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to change this right off the bat. I'm going to say this is really p minus 3 times p plus 2. P plus 1 down here, that can't be factored. Put it in parentheses though. And now I'm going to flip this. Okay, I'm going to make this into a fraction by putting it over 1 and then flip it, because when I'm dividing again with fractions, I always have to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to put the 1 on the top now and the p squared minus 4 on the bottom, right? Now let's remember quick. P squared minus 4, that is a special binomial because they both have perfect squares. So I'm changing it. to p plus 2 and p minus 2. Okay, so again, always multiply by the reciprocal and then factor, and then we can cross cancel or simplify. All right, I can cross cancel p plus 2's, and then I'm looking p minus 3, p minus 2. I can't do anything with those, and then I have a 1 on the top and a p plus 1 on the bottom. I can't do anything with those. So I'm just going to multiply across this time. So p minus 3 times 1 would be p minus 3 on the top. That's what's left. And on the bottom, p plus 1 and p minus 2, we just kind of put those next to each other to represent multiplication. So p plus 1 and p minus 2. Remember, these expressions don't say the exact same thing. We can't cancel them. All right, so this would be my final answer right here. Okay, let's take a look at what the book does quick. Actually, get out of here. Just show you that you end up with the same result. Okay, so they're saying, again, write p squared minus 4 as a fraction first by putting it over 1, multiply by the reciprocal, so flip it, factor it, just like we talked about, and then again, they multiply right away, they put everything together, and then they cancel, cross cancel on the top and bottom, but it doesn't really matter. As you can see, we end up with the exact same answer as what I had earlier. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Last one, and then you guys are going to practice this, okay? All right, so it's hard to see. So I have a squared minus 16 and then a plus 3. So let's go back in. Changing a squared minus 16 to a plus 4 and a minus 4. Over a plus 3. Putting this over 1, right? So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So 1 goes on the top now. A squared plus 7a plus 12. I want to factor that. So 12 and 7 are my factors. My factors would be 3 and 4. So a plus 3 and a plus 4. All right, now I can cross cancel right now. So a plus 4 is gone on the top and the bottom. All right, and then I have an a minus 4 on the top. There's no a minus 4 on the bottom, so I can't do anything with it. So I know that's part of my answer. A plus 3 and a plus 3, I can just put them next to each other. Plus 3 and a plus 3. So my final answer would look like this. Okay. All right, so that's the end of the lesson. Hopefully that made sense. What you guys are going to do right now is go into big ideas, and you are going to complete these 6 problems under the 11.4 practice part 2. And that's it for today. You will do something on IXL tomorrow for multiplying and dividing as a benchmark. If you have questions, email me or ask in the discussion thread. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.